So I'm not making this video because I'm, really rooting for Ilia Topuria or anything like this. This is not a biased video. If you can hear my accent, if you can tell where I'm from, I am an Australian. I am a big Alexander Volkanovski fan. Uh, so this video, I'm not making this video because, I have some bias and I'm picking Ilia Topuria or anything like that. But I do think Ilia Topuria is going to be Alexander Volkanovski's toughest test at the featherweight division. I think he is actually a very scary matchup for Alexander Volkanovski in many different ways. You know, let me just start this by saying I am actually going to be picking Alexander Volkanovski. I think. I guess we'll see more towards when the event does happen. But there is many factors into this fight on why I think Ilia Topuria can actually, maybe spring up the upset. I don't even know if it's going to be an upset, to be honest. They might actually be really even in the betting odds, especially with Volk coming off a knockout loss to Islam Makhachev. I even seen on Tapology the majority of people are picking Ilia Topuria, so maybe by the time the fight comes, it'll maybe be a pick'em or something like that. But I think Ilia Topuria has a great shot in this fight for many different stylistic reasons. One is just his body type, his overall body type. He's about the same height as Volk, maybe a little bit taller, but we have seen Volk doesn't do, he does, he's never lost to a guy shorter than him, but shorter guys, especially people with the same sort of build as Ilia Topuria, like look at Chad Mendes, same sort of build as Ilia Topuria, both like short, stocky guys. It's a bit of a harder stylistic matchup for Volkanovski when he fights people with that body type. It's easier for him to get clipped on the feet with the hands against someone like that. I don't think we're going to see Ilia Topuria go out there and head kick KO him like Islam Makhachev did do to Volkanovski. That's a complete different stylistic matchup, bigger takedown threat, much taller, bigger, longer reach than Ilia Topuria from Islam Makhachev. But, his boxing, very powerful. And yeah, like I mentioned with the whole, just his overall build, Volk did get clipped by Chad Mendes, and that's like the only guy he's really fought who's like that similar sort of build to Volkanovski. And I would say Ilia Topuria is a much better striker than Chad Mendes, much better, slicker with his hands. He is very textbook with his boxing, is Ilia Topuria. Mixes up to the body, goes to the head, slip and rips quite well. I will also say there is a good reason to pick Ilia Topuria in this fight, and why this is so dangerous for Volk is just the fact he's coming off a KO loss to Islam Makhachev. We don't know what Volk's going to look like. He's 35 years old. Nobody in the lower weight classes, lower than welterweight, has ever won and defended their belt over the age of 34. So this is one bit that is a bit worrying for Volk. Just the overall age makes this dangerous, but also coming off a KO loss. Who knows what Volk's going to look like in this fight? It is very scary for Volk. Another reason why it's a pretty tough stylistic matchup, Ilia Topuria has elite takedown defense. His takedown defense is really solid. I know he got taken down by Bryce Mitchell, but he had him down for about 10 seconds. He stuffed almost every takedown. And Bryce Mitchell, is a very, very strong grappler. Like, why do I think that makes it tougher for Volk? Just because, Volk can mix it up really well, and he's just going to be stuck on the feet with Ilia Topuria. Why I think that's tough is I think Volk can just win a striking match. Don't get me wrong, but it is just a bit more of a challenge because Volk can't go to the takedowns. He's just really reliant on him being able to strike with Ilia Topuria, which I'm sure he can. I do think he is the better overall striker than Ilia Topuria. I do think Ilia might have the better hands, just overall hands, but I think Volkanovski's like striking diversity is a lot better. Better kicks, better kicker, better elbows, and all that sort of stuff. Maybe quicker than Ilia Topuria, but he will be older, so we don't know what his speed and everything will look like. But I'd say Ilia Topuria's got the power advantage, and I would say he's very good with his hands, very textbook boxing. I would say he's probably got the more traditional type boxing, but Volk does have very good boxing himself. So I'm not counting Volk, being able to drop Ilia Topuria or anything like that. But I just think that is another dangerous factor for Volkanovski, is that, he. So just the fact that this is going to primarily be a fight on the feet, Volk could go out there and maybe masterclass Ilia Topuria for like 3 or 4 rounds, but that danger of the power is always going to be there for Ilia Topuria, unfortunately, as a Volk fan. So, watching that fight, I'm just going to be shitting my pants the whole fucking time I'm watching it. Like, the whole time, I'm just going to be worried. Because Volk could get him down. Let's be honest. He might be able to get him down, but Ilia Topuria does have some solid takedown defense. He's powerful. He does have some really good jiu-jitsu as well, underrated jiu-jitsu, which I hope Freestyle MMA is watching out for. This guy did start as a grappler. He wasn't always a boxer. He actually developed his boxing later into his career, but he does have very textbook boxing. It is a very nice style to watch. He's very young as well. He's going to have a big youth advantage. But I'll also factor in this. These are the reasons why I think this is just a dangerous fight for Volk. So let me just lay them out again for you. Volk coming off a KO loss. Volk being older. Ilia Topuria being the same size as him. Having very powerful hands, very good boxing, good takedown defense. Pretty much this fight will have to contend on the feet. These are some of the reasons why I think it's a tough fight for Ilia Topuria. This is a tough fight for Alexander Volkanovski. But I also, at the same time, I am still picking Volkanovski, and these are the reasons why. The pace. I know Ilia Topuria went 5 rounds against Josh Emmett, but it was really fought at his pace. Volkanovski will be the guy who fights with the best cardio, and we have seen, I know it was a short notice fight, but Ilia Topuria did slow down against Yusuf Salal. I know that, like I say, I know it was short notice, but he did really badly slow down, and that was a decently high-paced fight. I'd argue that's probably the highest paced fight we have seen from Ilia Topuria in the UFC. So we still don't know how good his cardio is. We know because of that boxing style, he leaves his lead leg heavy, and he doesn't really have an answer for leg kicks. Maybe that's what he's going to work on extensively here, but I do think Alexander Volkanovski can just kick at his leg, rough up his leg, then mix it up to the body. Maybe then put his wrestling in there once Ilia Topuria's leg turns to toast. We've never seen Ilia Topuria throw a head kick in his life. We barely see him throw kicks. We've maybe seen him throw some body kicks and maybe 1 or 2 leg kicks, but he is very one-dimensional with his striking. It is just boxing. He gets the job done. It's very good. It's very fun to watch, but he isn't very diverse with his kicks. Maybe we see him throw Volk off and he maybe throw some head kicks or something like that, but I don't think that will be his game plan, because I could see him getting one of his kicks caught by Volkanovski. But I think Volkanovski fights at such a high pace, I could see him pressuring Ilia Topuria and maybe breaking him a little bit, like wilting him a little bit, just because he fights, like I say, fights at a high pace, very high cardio. We have seen Ilia Topuria gas. We've seen him drop before. He does have good recovery, same as Volkanovski. Both of these guys don't have the greatest chins, but they do have good recoverability. They both recover very quickly. So I could see Alexander Volkanovski, especially coming on a bit later, hurting Ilia Topuria, rocking him all over the place, coming in and getting him out of there later. That is sort of how I do see the fight probably going. Like, Volk is still really good, and he is yet to lose at featherweight. Featherweight is his division, He is elite. Like, there's a bit of a difference between the featherweight version of Volk and the lightweight version. He's still really good at lightweight, but his size is so much better as a featherweight. Especially, he's going to have a reach advantage here over Ilia Topuria. But it's a very, very dangerous fight for Alexander Volkanovski. There are so many factors into this fight why I think this is his toughest test at featherweight. Like I say, very slick boxing. Volk can be dropped. I don't think he has a bad chin. But I do, he is susceptible to getting dropped quite a lot, and it is a bit worrying, but he does have good recovery. But I'm going to be shitting my pants this whole time. But I do think Volk will end up getting this one done, but it's still a very dangerous fight for Volk. I wouldn't be betting on either man in this fight. Like, especially if Volk didn't take that Islam Makhachev fight, I still would have thought this was a dangerous fight for Alexander Volkanovski. But I think it's even more of a dangerous fight just because he did get, finished by Islam Makhachev. If I had to give it like a percentage, I'd say there's a 45% shot for Ilia Topuria, then a 55% shot for Alexander Volkanovski to get this one done. This is probably the least confident I've been for Alexander Volkanovski in a featherweight fight. You know, at featherweight, he seemed untouchable. Like, you know, the way he dealt with Yair Rodriguez in his last fight at featherweight looked amazing. Looked amazing against Max Holloway. So I am hoping he can still have that same mentality and that same prowess as a featherweight. But like I say, I do worry about his chin. You know, he's coming back 4 months after a KO loss. But I think he will get this one done. But I am worried. But Ilia Topuria is a fucking, you know, Giga Chad, fucking Georgian, Spanish Giga Chad. He is a beast himself. But I think no matter what happens, even if Ilia Topuria does lose this fight to Alexander Volkanovski, I think in the future Ilia Topuria probably will still be a champion. I guess we'll have to see how he does handle a loss if he does lose to Alexander Volkanovski here. You know, maybe he'll be one of those guys who just completely shatters, or maybe he'll come back even stronger. Who knows? But yeah, very dangerous fight for Alexander Volkanovski. And yeah, that's all I've got to say about this matchup. I just thought I'd break this down because I've been having this thought for a while. This is a very tough fight for Alexander Volkanovski, but I do think Volk does still get this one done, but still very scary matchup. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you made it this far into the video, let me know your thoughts on this matchup for when it does go down at UFC 298. And yeah, let me know if you're picking Volk or Ilia Topuria to win, or you're picking a draw. I don't know. But yeah, let me know. I want to know your thoughts on how the fight goes. And yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. So yeah, leave a like. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe, put on them notifications. I would appreciate it very much. And I'll see you guys in the next video. So yeah, thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.